Hi, my name's Phil from Fun to Fix, and this time we're going to replace a broken screen on an iPhone 5S. Stay tuned. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on to be alerted when I release any new videos. And if you like this one, then please give me that thumbs up as well. Let's begin. So this is my iPhone 5S, which I acquired again from eBay as I usually do. And here is the advert itself. So it was £12 plus the £4.50, so £16.50 it cost me for this, and basically it's wrote in big letters, unlocked and factory reset, crack to screen. So it should be a fully working iPhone 5S, but it has got the crack to the screen there, which you can probably see. Also I've noticed that the digitizer isn't working very well, so if I do this it's all over the place, so it definitely needs a new screen, which I've got hold of a new screen there. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the screen on this one with the new one. So first thing is let's power it off. So hold the power button and power off. Once that's done, we can remove the two pentalobe screws that are in here. So these are like special Apple screws, pentalobe being like a 5-sided star. So when you see stars when you buy one of the screwdriver sets, sometimes the 6-sided stars, that will not work. So you need the actual pentalobe head to actually do that. If you get a good set, then you will get a pentalobe head with it. So next thing is we're going to get a sucker, and we're going to raise the screen at this edge, and we need to try and separate the screen from the actual frame. So what we may need is also one of these tools just to help us to pull the actual frame down. So let's try that. So you just see there's a little gap just coming there, so let me try and get the tool into that gap to lift it. So if you're doing this with your screen that isn't broken, then just be careful that you don't break the screen. Here I'm not too bothered because the screen's already broken. So you can see I'm getting a gap coming up there now. I can feel clicks. So now the frame is now starting to, I can take my finger up, that is unopened. So now the frame is starting to unclip. If you see in there is a little frame, see the shiny bit. So what you need to do is make sure that frame stays with your screen, and then we're just gonna unclip it a little bit further like that. Now you can totally see the frame. We'll do this side. There we go. Now don't lift it up just yet because there is some cables connected underneath. So now you can see the actual home button cable there. So obviously you do not want to damage that because the home buttons are locked to the actual iPhone. So if you damage that cable and you have to put a standard home button in, then you lose the touch facility. But just where the cable connects is that metal bracket, which is that there. So we need to remove that metal bracket there. So let's do that firstly without obviously lifting it up and putting any stress on the actual cable. So using a spudger, just going to get under it, and there it goes. So it's shot out, but that's what you're removing. You're removing that metal bracket there, and now it's actually done it. It's lifted. So now you can lift the home button off, and then you can lift the screen up. But still, do not disconnect because all the cables are still connected at the bottom. So here's what I've done just to stop any stress on these wires down here. So I've just like rubber band and connect it to this box here. So what we need to do now is take off this plate here. So now that's removed, we can then disconnect the battery, which is this cable or connector here. So I'm just going to lift that up again using a spudger. that's now disconnected the battery, so that we're not going to cause any damage when we disconnect these cables. So now the next step is we're going to take this plate off here, which is connected with 4 screws here, but these screws are fairly different sizes. So as I take them off, I'm going to put them into my little part down here where I can put screws in the order that they came off. So let's do that. And then we can remove this plate. There we go. So now we can see the cables that we need to now release. So now we can disconnect the front facing camera, the LCD and the digitizer. You can only do them in one order anyway because one's on top of the other. So that's those two, and you can see the third one underneath here. Okay, that's all cables disconnected, so now we can remove the phone and we're just left with the screen. So next we remove this screw here. It's got a little spring attached to it there. So that is absolutely tiny with a little spring on it. So put that to one side. Then taking the home button cable, just lift it up, move it out of the way. That gives us access to these screws for this plate. Then remove the plate. So now we can see the home button. So now I've got to be very careful here because we do not want to damage this. But what we're going to do is we're going to lift up where this cable is connected to the actual front screen. We're just going to lift that up to remove the sticky. So we're going to gently use the spudger just to lift the cable up. There we go, that's come up now. So that will just add a little bit of sticky on the back, sticking it down. So I've now got that. So now we need to get the home button out. So what we're going to do is press gently from the front. We just need to get a corner up, just so we can then, I can see right through there to the outside. I just want to gently lift it, making sure that it all comes up. Do not want to break the rubber membrane, so be very gentle just removing this. There we go, so that's now removed. So now we need to remove this speaker. So again, there's a couple of screws holding that on, so let's So one is really long and one is short, so the long one is in that bit there. So now we've got to be careful when we're taking the speaker off, because what it is, it has a little metal clip there which clips onto the body. So what we need to do is just lift that up a bit, and then push the speaker to that side, that way, so we don't damage it. And let me do it looking this way because it's a bit easier for me. So that's released the clip now, the clip is now up. Okay, now the bracket should just pop off like that. And now the speaker itself. So the connections on the back of the speaker there obviously push into here. That's why the bracket's there, to really push them down into that connector. So that's now off. So next you have to get the front camera and some of the sensors off this area here. So I'm going to heat it up because it's all a bit stuck down. So I'm going to heat this up with my heat gun and then we'll try and prise it off. So first of all I'm going to prise off these connectors for the front speaker. It's a very thin layer of like circuit board with these 4 connectors on, so I've got to get in between that circuit board there and the plastic underneath. So it's really thin, and there's nothing really to get under. Oh, there we go. So I'm under that bit now, and I'm just going to lift it up gently. There you go. And that has all now gently come away. So as we are going to be using this shield plate here in the new screen, then I'm not going to remove this off that. This can all stay stuck to it now. So let's now bring in the new replacement LCD. This is the new one, and here is the difference. So obviously the digitizer and LCD, I've got the connections for that here. So that's these 2 connections, that's fine. I haven't got any of this obviously, and I haven't got this plate, so this plate needs putting on here. Everything else should be fine after that. So we need to take this plate off and get it on here. So it's held on with 5 screws, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 there. So let's remove those. And there we have the plate released. So that should now look exactly the same as this, which it does. Okay, I just noticed, actually there look, I've got a little plastic lens, so we need to put a plastic lens in on my new one as well. That hits easily, it's just sat in there, so. There we go. So let's pop the plastic lens in. That in. Right, so looking again, everything looks the same. So I think I've got everything I need now. There. All good. So broken one can go. So let's put this frame now into the new one and pop the same screws back in. Put this one up here first because that might straighten everything up. Okay, that's that done. So now let's put the front camera and its parts back into place. I'm going to just put a little bit of heat on that and then just press it down. So now let's replace the speaker and the brackets. So replace them as one item. Don't forget, you need these little clips to just catch on the actual plastic. Okay, that feels good to me. Let's get that big screw in first. And then we can get the smaller screw in. That looks good. Camera's in its position. So the next part is the home button assembly. So confirm that the button is in place outside, which it is. There's a little bit of sticky on the back of this, so I'm just going to press that down, put a little bit of heat on, just press, then next to go on was the home button bracket. Which, if you see, that's got a couple of edges on, which are you're going to end up pressing the home button and keeping it in place. So make sure that's on nicely. And then the 2 screws. And these are identical screws anyway, so can't get these mixed up. Right, just check the home button feels okay. Yep, feels really good. And then we had, if you remember, that little, so it was that really little piece that we took off that went here. So it's a little spring. And then we'll fold the home button back over as it was. With a little bit of sticky on there. Gonna put a little bit of heat, not a lot, just a little bit. And press that down. And that's our front screen assembly ready to go back onto the actual iPhone. So let's bring that back in, put this in the taped up position on the box, and then we can put it back together. So now we've reconnected, what we're going to do is reconnect the battery and then just power it on and see if the screen is working okay before we go any further. Okay, let's power it on and see if the screen works. Ah, good news, so we've got the Apple logo there. So that's fine. So let's power it off and complete assembly. So now I want to put back the bracket that holds all these on. So that's this one. That goes like that. Make sure these cables are down. Yeah. Now some of these screws are different sizes, so make sure you get the right screws in the right holes. The shorter screws at the bottom. Okay, next connecting the battery is to the battery retaining plate on. So it goes right way, so it's got a funny shaped edge there. So that's going to go towards the bottom, like so. These screws are both the same size. Okay, so that's all nice and secure. So the next bit now is we need to reconnect the touch button onto there and get this metal clip back in. I think this is probably going to be the most tricky and hardest part. So let's go for that. So you've only got a little bit of space to do this. So I'm going to put the front end of the glass in place. Now, we need to get this bracket in, so this bracket is quite tricky. Let's just alter the camera a bit. Might be able to see in here. So firstly, I'll try and get the back edge of that and slide it in. Okay, so I've got that in there. So now I'm going to do is press it down. And there you are. It's locked in position. Nice. Okay, so now it's a matter of clipping the glass back down into the frame. As nicely, and then we need to replace the 2 pentalobe screws. And finally peel off the protective film to reveal perfectly new glass, and power it back on. And there we go. Now I'm getting unable to activate Touch ID on this phone, so I'm assuming that this phone has had another screen with a different Touch ID button, so therefore I can't set it up on here now. I'll prove that if we go here. Add a fingerprint, failed. So I'm assuming this is not the original button with this phone. But that's fine, this is just going to be used by me, so. But there we go, so that's now nice working iPhone 5S after fitting the new screen. So there we go, I managed to fix the screen on my iPhone 5S. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on, and if you really liked it, give me that thumbs up. Until next time, stay safe.